sometimes I think it does make sense to sit and wait and watch and see if something does resolve, see if something just needed time for your body to adjust to. But if you're just going on and on and on and feeling worse or not getting better and you're not feeling heard, it's time to look for somebody that is going to support you in a way that you need to be supported.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Nourished and Thriving Show. I'm your host, Katie Lovett. I'm a registered dietitian on a mission to help you increase your impact and legacy on the world while healing your gut and reducing your IBS symptoms. I'm so grateful to have you here. Each week, I'll inspire you to live vibrantly and provide valuable resources and information that empowers you to take bold action towards your health goals. Before we dive in, make sure you follow or subscribe to my show wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. Ready? Let's go!
Hey everybody, I'm so happy to talk with you guys today about something that is probably not going to feel really happy, but it's really needed. So the title of this episode, obviously you've seen it, is When Things Don't Go as Planned. And I kind of just get a little bit irritated whenever I read that because I like for things to go as planned, and I'm sure you do as well. I use YNAB a lot for budgeting, and they have this rolling with the punches tagline. If you haven't used YNAB, I definitely recommend it. It's a really great tool for budgeting, but you have to roll with the punches with your gut health too. And it can be really frustrating whenever you're having to do this if you don't know what other tools you have at your disposal. So say you're struggling with bloating and constipation, and you know 2 or 3 things that you can do. Maybe just listen to my 2-part constipation series here on this podcast. If you haven't, go listen if you're struggling with that. And you know those tips that I shared, but you don't really know anything outside of that, and you try them. And it may get you a small improvement. It may help some, but not all the way. Or it works really well for a little bit of time, and then something else happens and it stops working. That can be really frustrating because you don't know what else to do. And then you end up right back where you started from, or honestly, even maybe a little bit worse, because now you've tried everything that you know to try, and you don't know what else to do, and you still feel really bad. Now, this can get especially frustrating if you're actually working with an expert and you are doing a protocol that they put you on. Let's say you have SIBO, for example, which I also have an episode about SIBO here on the podcast. So if you are not sure what that is, or, not sure if maybe it's contributing to your gut symptoms, go check that one out. But let's say you're working with someone and they've put you on a protocol for SIBO and you're not getting better. You've been on, antimicrobials or antibiotics or whatever they have you on for 4 weeks, and they're just telling you to finish the protocol and you're not feeling better. That's really frustrating. And that's not going as planned. And now, you're working with this expert, this provider that's telling you what to do, and you're really counting on them to help you, and you're not getting the support and the help that you need. That's not okay, right? Now, there's a couple of things here that I want to pick apart a little bit. So first of all, don't expect someone else to have all the answers for you. Make sure you're communicating that this is not working. Don't assume that this protocol that this expert has put you on is the only tool in their toolbox, right? Maybe that expert, maybe that healthcare provider didn't fully explain about what I call the short-sighted action, where you have all these different levers and you decide this is the one we're going to pull first based on your goals, based on your symptoms, based on what you're willing to do or not willing to do. We're going to go with this path first. It may or may not be a home run, right? And then we're going to assess and see what we need to do next. It's very rarely a one and done deal when it comes to chronic symptoms. It's not just one thing, most likely, that contributed, that got you to where you are right now. So it's very rarely going to be just one thing that fixes it, right? There's no magic bullet. There's no magic pill, as much as we would like for there to be one. But the beautiful thing about this is that as you go through this journey, as you learn the different levers that you can pull and what works well for you and what doesn't work well for you, you gain this independence in your body. And then you have a greater understanding of what your body does really well with, what your body really needs, what your body really doesn't do well with. The first signs that your body shows you and gives you of when something is off. And that is so empowering, right? Really having this understanding of your body. A really good like analogy or parallel here, I think, is childbirth, right? There's been this trend of women reclaiming their childbirth. And, it went from, and it still is a lot of the time, this very medical procedure of the medical institution knowing better than the woman, and the medical institution knowing what the woman needs more than she does in order to deliver her child. It's gotten flipped a little bit back to the woman knows what she needs, and the woman knows what position she needs to be in for childbirth and what she needs to do and how she needs to move her body, and maybe gets coaching and support from the side, but she's the one calling the shots and in control. And she's so much more empowered whenever that's able to happen, even if she has to do something like a cesarean section, which is life-saving, and, or have intervention, she's still the one who's educated and is able to make those decisions for herself. It's really parallel to gut health and anything health related. Whenever you have the knowledge and awareness and understanding of what it is your body needs, what it is your body does really well with, and all of that, you're able to actually reclaim your own health. And that's cool, guys. Then you're not relying on me or your doctor or somebody else to fix you whenever something goes wrong. I've said so many times, your body's symptoms are ways of telling you that something needs attention and care and love. It's like a 2-year-old, right? It's like a toddler throwing a temper tantrum. Whenever they want a candy bar or want attention or need something, that's the only way that little person can communicate in that moment. Their words are failing them. Well, your body doesn't have words either, right? And just like a toddler, if you ignore that need and you don't meet that need and aren't able to discern what that is, the tantrum just gets worse. It just escalates. And that's what our bodies do too, right? The symptoms start out very subtly, and they get worse and worse and worse as they're ignored, and things become more and more out of balance, and time moves along until it finally does progress to a disease. So if you've been, if you're somebody who's struggled with digestive issues or IBS type symptoms, you've been to the GI doc, you've been and had a colonoscopy or an endoscopy, or, been to your family care physician, and they've told you like, you do not have a treatable disease that I can help you with. You have IBS. Here's a handout on a low FODMAP diet. They're not doing it because they're cold or cruel. They're doing it because that's the only tool that they have. They're taught to treat and diagnose diseases. And so if you don't have a disease, there's nothing to do. But the thing is, if you don't do anything at that point, it's not going to go away on its own, right? You have to do some things to make some changes to help your body get back into balance. So kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but I felt like it was really important to share that. And I just had it in my heart to say all of that. So if that resonated with you, let me know, because maybe I was meant to speak it for you. But, if your practitioner is not saying all of that really clearly, back to a protocol not working here. If a provider is not saying that this is not a magic bullet, this is our next best step forward, and then we'll assess and decide the next best step forward from there. They're not saying that. There's a lot left to be desired, and you're going to end up feeling really disappointed. And, maybe that provider isn't, practicing fully personalized interventions. Maybe that protocol really is all that they have at their disposal or in their toolbox, but that may work for some people. It's not going to work for everyone, because everyone is different. Everyone is unique. And you really need to find somebody who is completely personalized. That's what I do. So I am able to support people in a lot of different ways. I have my resource library for people to get foundational learning. We have communities so that they feel supported and are inspired and lifted up by others. And then they get one-on-one personalized support from me. And I have a lot of tools in my toolbox and spend a lot of my time totally geeking out on the newest research and interventions coming out. And so there's never just one path forward with me. But if your provider that you're working with right now is a lot like me, where they, have a lot of personalization in their approach, it's your responsibility to tell them if something's not working and to communicate that clearly, right? So, but yeah, if something's not going as planned, if something's not right, and you choose to not say anything, that's on you. But take that responsibility back. If something's not going right and you speak up and that provider is telling you to just keep doing it for longer, really weigh that and see if it makes sense for you. Sometimes I think it does make sense to sit and wait and watch and see if something does resolve, see if something just needed time for your body to adjust to. But if you're just going on and on and on and feeling worse or not getting better and you're not feeling heard, it's time to look for somebody that is going to support you in a way that you need to be supported. I was talking to somebody a couple of weeks ago where it was kind of this thing where, she had SIBO, she was working with someone, they had her on a protocol and it wasn't working. And she didn't really know what else to do. So I really encouraged her to reach out to her provider if she's still working with them and let them know that, just like I told you guys here, it's really important. We have to know if something's not, because not everyone's going to respond to everything the same way. Some people, some of the functional providers I work with and collaborate with, because I always surround myself with other, brilliant functional nutrition minds so we can inspire and help and support each other to give our clients the best results. But some of them were saying, protocols for them is another way of just saying like non-personalized care, because if someone has a protocol, it's typically going to be something that they're just putting every single person on and not necessarily looking at the small, nuanced, individualized things. I think that's a little bit harsh. I think there are different protocols, and I think people may use that phrase a little bit more broad. I'll use it in my practice, but every protocol that I use is personalized to the person. And in really taking those things into consideration that I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, it has to be based on your goals. What do you want? If you don't know what you want, I help you work through that too, because it can be a challenge. What are you willing to do and not willing to do? I'll have people come and say, oh yeah, 10 out of 10, willing to do anything. And then we start digging into it and they realize they're not. And they may feel bad or like they should be willing to do whatever. And that's not the case, right? We all are willing and able to do things that are different from one person to the next, and that's okay. But it's really dialing down and figuring out what you're willing to do or not willing to do. And then understanding all of the levers that are available, and based on the goals and willingness and ability, knowing which lever is the best one to pull to move forward with, so to speak. So I hope that's helpful for you guys. If you're on this gut health journey and just feeling frustrated because you feel like you've pulled all your levers, you've tried everything and nothing's working for you, get some help, reach out. I'd love to talk with you some more. There are more levers out there. I almost will guarantee that, because I've had so many people come to me and say that they've tried everything and they've tried like this much out of this much. You just aren't aware of all the levers, and that's okay. That's what I'm here for. And I would, be so honored to walk you through that process of understanding all the different options and helping you navigate the next best step forward and reclaiming your health and becoming empowered to understand your own body and its needs. So that's all for now. Talk later.
Thank you so much for listening to the entire episode. I hope you are feeling inspired and empowered to take bold action towards your health goals. If you enjoy what you heard, don't forget to follow my show so you never miss a new episode. And it would mean the world to me if you left me a review so others knew what to expect from my show. Last, get in touch. Let me know what bold action you're taking. Let me know how you're inspired. Follow me on Instagram at the_healthygut_dietitian. I've put a link in my show notes for you so you can simply click and follow. Come say hi. I respond to all my messages and I can't wait to get in touch.